think you should.
There's been a lot of misleading titles and information being spread around that's really just speculation, but YouTubers are labeling it like they know. And I'm here to clear some of that up by telling you that Hammond is not the next hero and is not even a gorilla. And I have proof for both. I will admit though, I think the newest hero in the game is going to have something to do with this. However, I'm telling you now, I'm pretty sure it's not Hammond. Let's go over why. And it's actually because of the fact that he's not a gorilla. First of all, let's look at the post that says, "Have you seen me?" It says that they haven't seen Hammond in almost a week and his cage is empty. Now, if we just take a look at this already, we should be able to tell that he's not a gorilla. Gorillas don't live in cages, and unless he's talking about a large enclosure or just a room that is his cage, I don't think this makes sense. And on top of this, in the gorillas confined to quarters message, he calls their living space their quarters, not their cages. There's no reason they would have different terminology for this. It's quarters and cages, and those two things are very different. You'd never call a living quarters area a cage. So there's no way Hammond is a gorilla. And even if you don't buy that, let's be honest, if a hyper-intelligent gorilla was missing, people would be freaking out, that's for sure. But, you know, if something like a cat was missing and they've got bigger priorities, then it makes sense that this is kind of on the back burner. You know, it's not a big deal that Hammond is missing, but they noticed it and acknowledged it. Based on this, I highly doubt that Hammond is a gorilla. I just don't see that being possible given everything we just mentioned. So let's talk about what he could be. I think the biggest possibility here is a pet. And I mentioned cat earlier. That's entirely a possibility, especially considering that whatever it is definitely in the air vents. I don't think a dog would be in the air vents, but I do think a cat or maybe some sort of rodent or probably many different creatures could be. And I think that's what Hammond is. And that's also why I don't think he's the new hero. Unless this animal, this pet, whatever he is also hyper intelligent, which is a possibility, and he's controlling some sort of mech suit, which is also a possibility, he's not going to be a new hero. Nothing that small, I think, will make it into Overwatch as a hero on its own. There's no way a hitbox as small as a cat or a snake or any sort of rodent will make it into the game. It's just too hard to hit, no matter how slow they make it move. So, with that being said, I think it's safe to assume Hammond, if this is the case, he's something small like that, is not the new hero. I now want to also talk about the possibility of Hammond being a cat specifically, and there's a few reasons he could be one. First of all, a cat just fits well in what we're looking for, a small creature that likes climbing, has a cage, and on top of that, gorillas in real life are actually given cats to take care of for at least short periods of time with the help of humans. So it's not impossible for Hammond to be a cat. And if Hammond is a cat, we have some interesting information for you from Jeff Kaplan himself. In an older interview with Jeff Kaplan, someone asked, "Have you ever thought about making a cat hero? Surely the internet would love that." And a basic summary of his response was that they did actually have a cat hero. The important piece of information here, though, is that he said had, and he also said it's probably too far, which means they probably don't have a cat hero anymore, which means if Hammond is a cat, he's also, once again, not the next hero. It is quite possible, however, that this Hammond is a cat, is not the next hero, but is loved by the next hero. Maybe Hammond was taken care of by the next hero who is someone residing on the lunar colony, possibly a different gorilla, or maybe an omnic, or even a scientist. We don't actually know what's up there other than gorillas and some humans. There could be omnics and scientists too. What this relationship would be then is simply a reference to this original cat hero that was once in the game. The final piece of information I'd like to look over is the interview with Effie Oladell, the one we got last time, in a similar fashion to this one. With that release, we never saw any mention of Orisa in the article at all. There's no way you could really tell who Orisa was. In fact, there was no way. There was zero chance you knew anything really about Orisa from that article alone, other than she might be from Numbani, and you might know a little bit of her color scheme. So I think it's safe to assume there's not enough information in the newest article to give us who the next hero is. Blizzard just isn't like that. That's my take on the matter. If you want to know when we're going to get new information, though, I think between 5 and 9 days is a good guess. That's about the amount of time it took between an interview with Effie and Orisa's launch or announcement. So if you're interested in that, about a week, I think, is how long we're going to be waiting. Tell me what you guys think down below. I think this all makes a lot of sense. Share it with your friends who are misinformed by the other YouTubers, if it does. And I'll see you guys all later. Have a good one. Lone Hawk out.